Hey, top of the morning to you. It's finally sunshiny. A day without rain so far. But the forecast isn't looking good. Keep all those farmers in your prayers because we've probably only got 25-30% of the corn in and it's not looking good. So I know these guys are all stressed. Um, this week I want to talk to you about I watched a football life that my buddy Scott Childress sent me the other day on Vi Sikahema, who played for the Cardinals. He was kick returner, wide receiver, played a little bit of everything. He was from Tonga. He was the only player from Tonga in the NFL. But he talked about in St. Louis that the players would leave and there'd be all these kids hanging around the stadiums after practices and stuff. And he said he noticed that some of the veterans knew some of these kids by names. That's how often the kids were there. Well, one kid was bigger than the rest and stood a head taller. And when he talked to him, he found out he's only 12 years old. And he noticed that he'd had had holes cut in the shoes with a razor blade so his toes could stick out because his feet were so big. So he took him in, introduced him to some of the other players, and got him shoes that fit, old shoes from the players. And then each year, as the kid grew, they would take him in and introduce him to another player and get him bigger shoes. Well, then by his time, he left St. Louis, and fell out of touch. Well, 10 years later, he was a reporter in Philadelphia. And they invited him down to the Eagles training camp and to meet their second-round draft pick, Barrett Brooks. And Barrett ran up to him and said, "Mr. Sikahema, don't you recognize me? It's Barrett from St. Louis. I'm a second-round pick. I can afford to buy my own shoes." And that is a neat story. I mean, this guy, Barrett, his success, he struggled and worked his way through, and he made something of his life. And he remembered how humble Sikahema was by giving him his shoes. Well, then that leads to another player, Irving Fryer, who became a minister, and he had him at his church, and Barrett donated a pair of his cleats, size 16, autographed, and Irving called up two young boys from the audience and gave them each a shoe and said, "You must learn to grow into these shoes." So I thought that was a neat story. It got me thinking. We listen to John the Baptist saying there's one coming whose sandal am I even worthy of untying. And we're to follow, Paul says, in the footsteps of Christ. So we're to become a reflection of our Creator. So, we are to learn to grow into the shoes of Jesus. Those are some mighty big shoes to fill, guys. Mighty big shoes. Are we going to do it? I'd say not. Because all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. None are righteous, no, not one. According to Scripture. And according to me, I know I will never fit these shoes. But the best we can do is try. Look at little boys, how they follow their fathers around. Little girls, how they follow their fathers. They try to emulate them. That is our job. Stay in the Scripture. Know your own shortcomings. Know your own shortfalls. Try to fix those repetitive sins and try to walk in the footsteps of Christ. And by trying and staying in this, you will see a change. There'll be a change in your life. There'll be a change in your relationship. And I'm quick to say men, but also women. It's a cooperative agreement between husband and wife. We've got to do this together. Because the more that as I said before, the more as we focus on God, the more we grow together. If we keep that same focal point. So, just my little ramblings for this week. So, hope you all have a good week. May the rain stay away. Be blessed, I truly am. And thank you, Scott, for sending that to me, buddy.